So, of course, the Daily Mail would put some sort of negative twist into the headline when they announced that Duchess Meghan had received an Emmy nomination, like them claiming that her show was axed. There was literally never any talk about it being canceled or not being renewed. She herself actually said that she wasn't sure if she would go forward with a third season because it was just a lot of work. And she has her hands in many different pies. And it's a lot of focus and detail that she would have to put into this show because she didn't want to half-ass it, obviously. And so I think possibly it was just a mutual agreement that it would either pause or she might pick it up later, but for now, she wanted to do something else. And Netflix never said it was canceled. They never said it was axed. They never said that another episode will never happen. And oftentimes, lifestyle shows don't last forever. And most of the time, lifestyle shows, really any show, is pretty good the first few seasons. And then it just kind of goes downhill. So why not go out when you're on top? Makes sense. So the Emmys were announced about 48 hours ago, which I'm really bad with time. So if it was longer or shorter, forgive me. My mother died, so my brain is not exactly all the way here. Anyways, so when they put this headline up and weirdly add that it was 8 years after snubbing the awards to draw a line in the sand between Hollywood and her life as a royal, it really made me think about how, there are so many people claiming that she only married Harry to get super famous and then pull him away from his family, right? But they just went and proved that she was all in on being a royal. She was literally invited to the Emmys after she married Harry, and she declined because she was not an actress anymore. She had retired because she was going to work for the British royal family forever. And the acting part, the going to award shows or walking red carpets, that part of her life to her was over because she was now a British royal and she would only be doing what they permitted, the courtiers and the ones that run their lives. So the fact that they added that in, acting like it was some kind of slam to her, when in fact they're proving that she was all in 100% to work for the monarchy for the rest of her life. Found that chef's kiss. Now, you're going to have media literacy to understand that. Some of you don't. It's whatever. If you aren't convinced now, you'll never be convinced. But another thing I wanted to show you, I was wondering why the Daily Mail had not went to Twitter and grabbed all of the negative tweets they could find attacking Meghan for this Emmy nomination, because that's a lot of where they get their ideas to abuse her, right? Like they themselves can't think of anything, so they use Twitter as a source of basically using people's tweets to create stories, and they hadn't done this. And I thought that was so strange because with an Emmy nomination and the one singular headline, I was like, where's the rest of them? There's got to be more than this. Like, they should be loading, articles into the chat GPT and asking how to make it all negative, but they haven't. What is going on? Turns out this was going on. It was probably leaked in the WhatsApp group that the palace has with a bunch of these tabloid writers, that they were going to also nominate Eugene Levy's The Reluctant Traveler for 2 Emmy nominations of the episode that Prince William was in. And so they had to be very careful, which, they're hypocritical all the time. They praise one woman and attack the other for doing the exact same thing, only first. So I guess they didn't want to look too hypocritical. So they didn't inundate the idiots with propaganda about how this is actually bad for Meghan or bad for Hollywood or, all the other made up shit that they do, because somebody let them know, well, actually, we're going to nominate Prince episode on Eugene Levy's show because his entire persona is just hijacking Harry's. And sometimes that has to include hijacking things that Meghan does, because now this dude, he's suddenly a hugger and loves taking selfies and loves that hugging, and he hated that shit 5 years ago, but now he just fucking loves it. But now I'm wondering, how are the Daily Mail going to talk about how celebrities are beneath the royals and the royals are up here when he's also doing celebrity shit? It's going to be the hypocrisy. They're just going to pretend it's fine when he does it, terrible when she does it.
So, very quickly, class, I'm not going to keep you because, it's Saturday and I have places to be. Can you believe they're making me work on a Saturday? But it's light work for me, as you know. I've got a wine showcasing thing I need to get to. So, but before that, this one has come to my attention that no. We weren't the only ones who got an Emmy nomination. Actually, somebody else got an Emmy nomination and was quietly celebrating it. Okay, so my issue here is, number one, can you just never let us have anything for ourselves? And number two, if it was a quiet celebration of 2 Emmy nominations, why are you telling us now? Why don't you keep quietly celebrating your Emmy nominations? But because we told y'all that we've been nominated, y'all want to come out a day later, say, oh no, so have we. Me too. Listen, guys, you know what? I just think at this stage now, right? It's so ridiculous. Why didn't you tell us before? We told y'all. Because we weren't hiding our nomination. Y'all were saying, quiet. Listen. Okay, class, I've got somewhere to be. I just thought I'd bring in this one because... Let's... Have a good weekend. Oh my word.
Hello, squaddies. Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about the absolute clown show currently happening in the media. The Daily Mail is throwing a massive tantrum because Prince William hopped on a scooter, drank a pint at a pub with Eugene Levy on an Apple TV show, and somehow the show scored 2 primetime Emmy nominations. Meanwhile, Meghan's lifestyle show grabs a daytime Emmy nod, and the British press starts acting like it's a heavyweight championship boxing match. Let's keep it real for a second. Regular people are out here worrying about skyrocketing grocery bills and rent, while the tabloids are screaming, look, the future King of England is totally beating his sister-in-law at television. First off, shouts out to Meghan. She left a toxic situation, secured her bag, and made a lifestyle show that people actually watched. That's just a normal career move. But the British media cannot stand it. They treat her like a supervillain just for breathing. Then you look at William. Why is the heir to the British throne trying to be an influencer? Bro, you are literally next in line for the crown. You don't need to compete with a Netflix lifestyle host. You have a whole kingdom waiting for you. Seeing William trying to collect Hollywood clout by giving private tours of Windsor Castle just to upstage his brother's wife is embarrassing. He's out here chasing red carpets while regular people are just trying to get through the work week. The media needs to stop treating the royal family like a reality TV scoreboard. Meghan is out here living her life, doing her thing, and William needs to stick to his day job, which is literally just waiting to be king. We don't need a royal battle over Emmy nominations. It's just weird. Now here's the part that cracks me up. For years we've been hearing the same old tune. Meghan is irrelevant. Nobody cares. Her career is over. People have moved on. We've heard it so many times it could be a broken ringtone. Every few months it's the exact same speech wearing a different outfit. But then, boom, 1 Emmy nomination, and the same people who swore they had moved on suddenly couldn't stop talking about her. They were tweeting, making YouTube videos, writing articles, jumping on television, filling comment sections, refreshing Instagram every 5 minutes. Hold on a second, I thought nobody cared. That's like saying you hate a restaurant, but you're somehow the first person in line every single morning. Make it make sense. Regular people can spot this stuff from a mile away. You don't spend all day talking about somebody who doesn't matter. You don't dedicate hours to someone you've supposedly forgotten. That's not how real life works. If your neighbour keeps telling everyone they don't care about the football team down the street, but they're watching every match, buying the newspaper and arguing with strangers about the score, everybody already knows the truth. They're invested. That's exactly what's happening here. Meghan doesn't even have to say a word. She just lives her life, works on her projects, and somehow the internet clocks in for another full shift discussing everything she does. At this point, some of her loudest critics deserve employee benefits because they never miss a day. And here's the funny part. Every time they try to bury one of her achievements, they end up advertising it for free. Somebody scrolling online who had no idea about the nomination suddenly asks, "Wait, Meghan got nominated for an Emmy?" Next thing you know, they're searching, reading, watching clips, and making up their own minds. Congratulations! The critics just became the marketing department. You honestly couldn't buy promotion that good. That's why all this noise feels so desperate.
Now, squaddies, can we talk about these moving goalposts for a minute? Because this has become the longest football match in history. Every single time Meghan scores, somebody grabs the goalposts, throws them on a truck, and drives them 10 miles down the road. First it was, she'll never succeed without the royal family. She succeeds. Then it became, well, it doesn't really count. Then she lands another project. Oh, anybody could have done that. Now there's an Emmy nomination. Suddenly it's, she probably bought it. Seriously? That's the best we've got? It's funny because the rules only seem to change when Meghan is the one winning. Regular people see this every day. Maybe you've worked with someone who keeps telling you that you'll never get promoted. Then you get the promotion, and instead of saying well done, they start saying you must know somebody. Sound familiar? Some people would rather invent a story than admit they were wrong, and that's exactly what's happening here. The funniest part is, these conspiracy theories always arrive with plenty of confidence and absolutely no receipts. It's all, I heard, people are saying, it must be. But when you ask for actual proof, the room suddenly gets quieter than a library. You can't build an argument out of guesses. An official Emmy nomination isn't something your cousin prints at a cybercafe. There are voting processes, industry professionals, standards. Whether people like the outcome or not doesn't suddenly erase the nomination. Then came another twist that had me laughing. Some people started trying to drag Prince William into the conversation, saying his appearance on a nominated programme somehow means he deserves the spotlight too. Hold on now, that's not how awards work. If I walk through a movie for 5 seconds carrying a shopping bag, I'm not suddenly up for Best Actor. If your favourite musician invites you on stage to wave at the crowd, you're not winning Album of the Year. A guest appearance is exactly that, a guest appearance. The nomination belongs to the project and the people whose work earned that recognition. It's really not complicated. But notice what happened. Instead of celebrating the people who actually created the show, instead of talking about the producers, the crew, the writers, and everyone who spent months making it happen, the conversation became, how do we make this about somebody else? That's the part that feels unfair. The spotlight should have been on the achievement. Instead, some people spent more energy trying to explain why Meghan didn't deserve it than they did congratulating the people who were nominated. That's wild. Imagine showing up to your friend's graduation and spending the whole ceremony explaining why their degree doesn't count. Everybody would be looking at you like, mate, are you okay? Sometimes people make someone else's success sound like a personal emergency, and that's what this whole reaction looked like. Instead of saying congratulations, they started hunting for loopholes. They searched for shortcuts, they searched for hidden agendas, anything except the simplest answer staring them right in the face. Maybe, just maybe, the work was recognized. Not every achievement needs a conspiracy attached to it. At some point, you've got to stop moving the goalposts and admit the obvious. Meghan keeps putting points on the board. Whether critics clap or complain doesn't change the scoreboard. The nomination is official, the recognition is real, and no amount of online gymnastics can rewrite that.
Now, squaddies, this is the part where people start rubbing their eyes and asking, hang on, are we all watching the same movie? Because the double standards, they're not even trying to hide anymore. Have you ever noticed how Meghan can do something on Monday and it's somehow the biggest scandal on earth, but let somebody else do something similar on Tuesday and suddenly it's classy, it's dignified, it's a masterstroke. Same game, different referee. Come on now. Regular people know exactly what this feels like. Maybe you've worked in an office where one employee shows up 5 minutes late and gets called into the boss's office. Then another person strolls in 20 minutes late with a coffee in one hand and breakfast in the other, and everybody acts like it's no big deal. You'd be sitting there thinking, so what are the actual rules? That's why so many people are raising their eyebrows these days.
the reactions don't always seem consistent. When Meghan achieves something, the first question often isn't, what did she accomplish? It's, how can we poke holes in it? Before anyone even celebrates, somebody's already looking for a reason to complain. It's like some people wake up every morning with one mission. Right then, how do we make today Meghan's fault? Rain outside? Probably Meghan. Traffic jam? Definitely Meghan. Your tea went cold? Well, someone on the internet will probably find a way to blame Meghan for that too. It gets ridiculous after a while. Then you look at other members of the royal family and the tone can feel completely different. A similar situation might be covered with softer language or a lot more patience. People notice that. You don't need a journalism degree to notice that. You just need common sense. And here's the thing about regular people. They're not robots. They can tell when the energy changes depending on who's involved. If two people do something similar, but only one gets dragged across every headline, folks are naturally going to ask questions. That's human nature. Nobody likes feeling like the rules change halfway through the match. That's probably why more people are stepping back and looking at the coverage itself, instead of just accepting every headline at face value. They're asking, wait a minute, why is this being framed differently? That's a fair question, because once people start spotting patterns, it's hard to unsee them. And here's what really makes me laugh. The louder some critics shout, the more curious everyone else becomes. People stop relying on dramatic headlines and start checking things for themselves. They read, they watch, they compare, they make up their own minds. But here's the catch. If you're going to hand out criticism, at least use the same measuring tape for everybody. Don't pull out a microscope for one person and a blindfold for somebody else. That's all people are asking for. Fair is fair. And the more the public notices those differences, the harder it becomes for anyone to pretend they don't exist. That's why these conversations keep growing, and that's why so many people are beginning to look beyond the headlines instead of simply taking them at face value.
Now, squaddies, this might be the funniest part of this entire story. Some of Meghan's biggest critics have accidentally become her best advertising team, and I honestly don't think they've realised it yet. Think about it. Every single time they launch another outrage campaign, they think they're hurting her. Meanwhile, somebody sitting at home who has never heard of the project suddenly sees 50 angry posts about it. And what do regular people do? They get curious. They don't just take somebody's word for it. They pull out their phone and go, all right then, what's everybody losing their minds over? One search becomes one clip becomes one episode becomes, hang on, this isn't what they told me. It happens over and over again. It's like when someone tells you, don't go to that new restaurant, it's terrible. Next thing you know, the place is packed because everybody wants to see if it's really that bad. Congratulations, you just gave them free publicity. That's exactly what keeps happening here. The louder the complaints get, the more attention Meghan receives. The more headlines appear, the more people click. The more people click, the more conversations start. It's almost like watching someone trying to put out a fire with a petrol can. Wrong strategy every single time. And here's another thing regular people understand. If you genuinely don't like something, you usually ignore it. You don't spend your morning talking about it. You don't spend your afternoon posting about it. You don't spend your evening arguing with strangers about it. Life's too short. But somehow every Meghan project seems to attract people who claim they're completely over her, while somehow knowing every headline, every interview, every outfit, every announcement, and every rumour before breakfast. At this point, they know her schedule better than their own. That's dedication, or maybe obsession. You decide. And the funniest part is that none of this changes the result. People can complain online until their phone battery waves the white flag. People can write think pieces. People can make dramatic videos. People can invent another dozen conspiracy theories before lunchtime. The Emmy nomination doesn't disappear. It doesn't suddenly vanish because somebody shouted louder on social media. Reality doesn't work like that. The nomination is official. It happened. It's on the record. You don't erase achievements by refusing to clap for them. Success isn't a magic trick that disappears because critics close their eyes. And I think that's what's really frustrating some people. Not the nomination itself. It's the fact that no matter how much noise surrounds Meghan, she keeps giving people something new to talk about. So here's my message to the critics. If your mission is to make people stop paying attention to Meghan, I'm afraid the scoreboard isn't looking too good, because every time you try to bury her latest achievement, you accidentally put up another billboard pointing people straight towards it. That's got to be one of the most expensive free marketing campaigns I've ever seen, and judging by this Emmy nomination, the strategy still isn't working. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share widely, and let me know what are your thoughts. Blessed week ahead. I am your host, Miles. Love you all. Goodbye.